Mobile gaming in general is frequently derided by the larger mass of gamers as being somehow fake. It's easy to see where they're coming from, as the majority of high-profile games built for smartphones are designed around gameplay that's intended to be addictive to young and casual players without any hidden depth, and then artificially hobbled by boredom mechanics that can only be defeated by throwing money at the problem. These sorts of games are shameless cash grabs, less interested in bringing joy to a player than they are simply interested in separating them from their money. It's a problem, and it's easy to be cynical about the state of mobile gaming when that's all you can see. Though, to be fair, have you been watching the major console and PC publishers for the past few decades? 2K releases the same two sports games every year for full price, Ubisoft keeps repackaging the same open world into every Far Cry and Tom Clancy game, Bethesda has re-released Skyrim about a bazillion times, and EA, between grinding mechanics in Star Wars games, forcing BioWare to release games a year early, and the endless repackaging of even more sports games than 2K, is easily as bad as any mobile game publisher. So maybe let's be a little more open-minded about mobile gaming? I do play a fair number of iOS games, even when I'm at home with my PC and PS4 in easy reach, but especially when I'm on any sort of trip, like I am now. So today we're going to take a look at one of my favorites, an iOS puzzle game that I wouldn't hesitate to recommend to any serious gamer who enjoys a quality puzzle game on any other platform, Monument Valley. The main advantages of a smartphone for gaming hinge around portability, but there are unique advantages to a touchscreen as an interface that you just don't get on other platforms, Nintendo notwithstanding. Monument Valley does a great job of keeping the puzzles short to maximize portability, and using the touchscreen to both simplify and complicate the puzzles. Being able to touch and drag elements of the monuments gives you a nice sense of satisfying simplicity that belies the complications that'll arise later on as more elements of gameplay are introduced. As you can see, the art style is nice and simple, but also very thoughtfully produced. It's gorgeous, brings a nice Escherian flair to the table, and the monuments start to look a lot like a puzzle from a highlights magazine as they get more complicated. Look at me and my references. But honestly, MC Escher's influence on the design of the game is undeniable, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to discover that someone at Us2 Games also had that one highlights cover hanging on their wall as a kid. This is kind of starting to feel like my generation's version of All Old People Know Each Other. So the puzzles are satisfying, make good use of the advantages of the platform, and have a very unique and pleasing atmosphere and art style. Add to that the fact that the game costs $4 and has virtually no in-app purchases, and it's actually very easy to recommend the game on the strength of its gameplay alone. That's leaving the story out of the question entirely, meaning that it's all just icing from there on in. Admittedly, as far as that icing goes, Monument Valley uses it pretty sparingly. It's good icing, for sure, with a story that feels vaguely reminiscent of something like Horizon Zero Dawn or Journey, a sort of learn from the ancients type post-apocalypse, except nowhere near as heavy as those. It's very light, almost more of a thematic lean to tie the puzzles together, but it leaves you with a sort of distant longing for days of yore, or maybe that's just me. But in either case, it's icing like I said, and it's thin, so even if you don't like it, you should still get the game. It's just one among dozens of excellent games available on smartphones that function as really good ammo against anyone who's trying to tell you playing games on your phone isn't gaming. At least you're pretty much guaranteed to get your money's worth. Feel free to ask them if they bought No Man's Sky, or Mass Effect Andromeda, or Anthem, or Destiny 2 at launch, or Sea of Thieves at launch.